on overcoming social anxiety. So a lot of people, they're interested in knowing where social anxiety comes from, asking themselves the question, why do I have social anxiety? Is it normal? Is it a problem? Can I actually overcome social anxiety? And if so, what's the fastest and best way to do it? If these are the questions that you have, I'd encourage you to stick out this stream. And I hope that you're going to get something that you can take away to improve your everyday life and start to reduce your experience of social anxiety. So let's get really simple. As my mentor said to me, I got mentorship to overcome my social anxiety. You can't beat fear with complexity. It's too smart. You have to get stupid. You have to keep it simple. Social anxiety is anxiety, worry, fear around socializing. It's a fear of connecting with people. I'll give you the bad news first, then I'll give you the good news. The bad news is you're always going to have some fear around people. There's always going to be a level of fear when it comes to connecting to another person. I really wish I could wave a magic wand and make that go away. Or part of my mind wishes that. But the truth sets you free. So there's always going to be some fear around connecting with people. This is healthy. You're meant to feel some fear around people because you don't know the kind of person that you're dealing with. You might be talking to a psychopath. You might be talking to a pathological narcissist and liar, a manipulator, a toxic person, someone that could hurt you, someone that might betray your trust. So it's normal to have a level of fear around people. But what isn't normal is crippling levels of fear. So just OCD, social anxiety, it's on a spectrum. So everybody is going to have some level of social anxiety. But when it becomes a problem and it's making you miserable, it's holding you back from making friends, enjoying yourself, finding a relationship, advancing in your career. It's stopping you from giving a public talk because even though you would love to give the talk and it's going to help you out, you find the idea just too scary, stopping you from functioning normally and enjoying yourself in everyday life. That's when it becomes a problem. So, where does it come from? It comes from your experiences interacting with people. But most likely, talking to most people here, it'll go back to childhood, authority figures and peers. At that age of life, you're learning how the world works. So you're looking to other people for leadership, direction, and important information. And at this stage of life, you're highly impressionable. If you think about your parents, you view your parents as a mini version of the world. And the rules that they have for how you should behave, you view that as rules for the wider world. And actually, funny, I'm saying this right now because I have a mini globe on my desk, and a mouse map is actually a map of the world as well. So when you're growing up, your parents' household, this is like a mini version of the wider world. So you're learning how to be. And if you have parents who they don't open up and talk about their feelings, they don't encourage you to get your emotions out there, to be open and truly connect, then it's likely that that's where your social anxiety comes from. So when you're a kid, you want to keep your parents happy. You have this awareness, this inbuilt awareness that if your parents are not kept happy, you might die. You rely on your parents to feed you, to look after you, to nurture you in your development. So if you don't keep your parents happy, it's a survival risk in your child brain. So this means that you take their rules very, very seriously. You want to fit in. And if your parents have social anxiety, which my parents have, you're going to learn that this is normal. So I love my parents. They have loads of great positive qualities that I appreciate. But in my household growing up, and to this day, we don't have open conversations. There's not emotions involved. We can talk about superficial, surface level things, the weather, sports, films, books, TV, but not deeper things. Not relationships with other people, how we feel, what our dreams are. Topics that involve you putting your true passion out there, really being vulnerable and being yourself. And if you've grown up in a household that's similar, you might have learned to close yourself off, to cut yourself off from your emotions and go through life like a robot, talking like Arnold Schwarzenegger when he's playing the Terminator, monotone, not talking with emotions. So this is what I was like. I'd go to school, and for me, I didn't understand conversations. I'd watch people interacting and socializing, and I'd be so confused. It was like an alien activity that I just didn't get. What is this thing going on? I don't get it. How come everyone else is talking, but I'm just by myself, isolated? How is this happening? I was highly confused. I knew that I had social anxiety. I knew I was really afraid of people. But I also just didn't understand socializing at those times in my life. It doesn't feel like an alien language anymore, thank God. because now I've connected to myself and I'm truly connecting with other people that I speak to. So it's just natural. I remember learning once from a guy that I followed on YouTube for many, many years that social skills are 80% emotional and 20% logical. You can't connect with ChatGTP or some AI bot. That's a logical conversation. But you're a human and there's so much more to you. There's things that you really care about, things that you're actually passionate about. Not hobbies that you talk about to tick boxes like, I am into art, I am into film. Not that. There's things that you really care about. Probably there's a journey that you're on in life right now. And that's why you're watching this video. That journey, you talking about that journey and sharing that, that's real. That's you being yourself. That's authentic. And that's you truly putting yourself out there. If you don't truly put yourself out there, how can you connect with other people? Do you want to live the rest of your life as a fake person who doesn't connect with anybody? Or do you want to actually go for it, fully immerse yourself in life, risk failure, risk mistakes, find genuine connections, real people that you can actually call friends? Not fake friends on Facebook, true friends. One true friend is worth more than 1,000 fake friends. You want to truly connect with a partner as well. Have an amazing relationship. You can't fake connection as a good person. Or actually, let me take back that statement and correct it. You can't fake connection. If you're talking about you and another person, you can't fake it. It happens organically, authentically, and naturally. Even psychopaths who are superficially charming, it's not fair to say that they can fake connection because they don't experience the connection. So there's no one that can fake connection because connection's real. That's the whole point. How do you learn to trust somebody? Connection, spending time with them. Something that I often get people to think about when they have social anxiety is there a person in your life right now, or someone even in the past, who you felt comfortable around and able to just be yourself with? Someone who you felt confident talking to? For most people, not everybody, but for most people, the answer is yes. What does this mean? Let's think about it. This means that with at least one person in your life, you've already beat social anxiety. That's a fact. If there's one person in your life who you're comfortable with and you don't feel social anxiety around, already proven to yourself that you can beat social anxiety. And if you reverse engineer that process and work out how did you beat social anxiety with that person, you can apply the same principles to others in life and the wider world. Probably you feel supported and accepted and not judged around this person. That's what I would be willing to bet my chips on. If that's the case, the question is, how can you achieve the same thing with other people? Something really interesting that's a little bit of a tangent, but it does relate, I promise. What do other people want? Other people, they want to feel accepted for being themselves, supported. They want to feel listened to. They want to feel understood. That's what everybody wants. If you have social anxiety, a great thing you can is focus on giving other people what they want, treating them how you want to be treated. So focus on accepting other people, supporting them, listening to them, genuinely listening, not fake listening and thinking what to say next, proper listening. And also try to understand them. When you treat people how you want to be treated, you give yourself the best chance of receiving the same treatment in back. Like a mirror. You're getting back the kind of treatment that you're putting out there. And when you go through this process, so you treat other people how you want to be treated, and that's in such a way where your social anxiety wouldn't be a problem. Try treating every person like this. The people that treat you the same back, they're worth keeping as friends. They're good people. The people that don't, you're actually right to have a level of social anxiety around those people. If they're not being fair and square and nice with you, perhaps you don't want to associate with them anyway. And around those people, you can change the way that you interact, work on boundaries. There's a lot of things you can do. So this is a really interesting way to help people overcome social anxiety. I'll repeat this because I guess I was halfway through it with someone joining the stream. So this might help you out. So what people want, they want to feel accepted for being themselves. They want to feel genuinely listened to, understood, and supported. If you feel like that, as someone with social anxiety, you'll learn to become comfortable with that person. So if you're that person with social anxiety, try treating other people in this way. It's actually really good psychology to do this. Firstly, some people, they'll give you back the treatment given to them. So you'll get over your social anxiety with more people. And also, when you have social anxiety, it's really refreshing to take the focus off yourself and your anxiety. When you start to make eye contact with somebody else, you focus on giving to another person. Suddenly, you're less focused on your own problems. You're less consumed by your own anxiety, and it actually becomes less of a problem. There's that phrase, a problem shared is a problem halved. So when you have a conversation with somebody else, immediately your problems are less consuming. A scary but also rewarding practice that helps out a lot of people at my events and people that I coach to reduce social anxiety is to work on eye contacts. Sounds incredibly simple, but it can be scary to really make eye contact with somebody else. If you can practice holding eye contact more often for longer than you usually would with all people in life. So when you're getting on the bus with the bus driver, make eye contact when you're walking to your seat. When you walk into the office at work, make natural eye contact with people, your boss, your parents, your siblings, your friends. And just start to get comfortable holding the eye contact for longer. This does wonders for chipping away at the anxiety. And if you make this a habit, a long-term habit, you really will gain something. Because at the core, social anxiety is a fear of connecting with people. And making eye contact and holding it is connecting with people. It's highly vulnerable. The way that I think of it, my crazy way of thinking about it, is your eyes, they're directly connected to your brain. So it's basically the eye is a bit of nervous tissue, like the brain, and there's some wires going back to your brain. So it's like your brain is just exposed to the world through your eyes. That's why people say the eyes are the windows to the soul. It's like there's a level of there's a nakedness, a vulnerability about making eye contact with another person. So when I'm doing coffee socials, I'm helping people out with social anxiety. I often get them to have a conversation and try to hold eye contact throughout the conversation. And this really works because an interesting thing is that when you're holding eye contact, you can't think ahead. It becomes impossible to plan what to say next because when you plan and you go into your logical brain, your eyes start moving to the corner rather than in the middle. So when you hold eye contact, you have to be present in the moment, genuinely listen to the other person, and actually improvise the conversation. And normally, the barrier to connecting with somebody is something that we actually cause. We put up these walls and barriers to protect ourselves. And often being too logical and trying to have a really logical conversation, but a conversation where there's no emotions, there's no human vulnerability. This prevents connection. But when you're present in the moment and making eye contact, not thinking ahead, you're encouraging yourself to connect with the other person. You're getting out of your own way. What really helps as well, simple advice, is to get away from toxic people and to get around uplifting people. This is life changing. If you can find a way to stop hanging out with people or minimize the time you spend with people that leave you feeling drained, that leave you feeling beaten up, worse off, and get around people where you just feel good. This helps out so much. If you find groups of people, communities where you feel welcomed, where you can just be yourself, not worry too much, and you fit right in, this helps out so much. I remember when I was in high school, I was the most quiet person in my year by a mile. I had huge amounts of social anxiety. And I would always isolate myself from every single person. I'd find a way, even when someone was being nice to me, to isolate myself. And I just didn't find the kinds of people that I could connect with back then. And that really amplified the social anxiety, felt really, really lonely. And I would just struggle to have conversations, feel really, really uncomfortable. But now I've found communities of people where it just feels like everybody there is easy to talk to. Just on the same wavelength, a similar vibe, similar energy, however you want to describe it, there is people out there who you just naturally hit it off with. And when you can find these people, it helps you out so much in the process. And this is why I started to put on coffee socials in Birmingham, because I wanted to create that community for people with social anxiety so they can come down once a month, realize that there's a lot of other people in the same boat, people going through all kinds of challenges, and there's a lot of positivity as well. And it's really nice to get in those environments. Just going to positive places where you feel good, this works wonders as well. I guarantee you, if you've not done this already, if you join a gym and take up running, it's going to work wonders for reducing your social anxiety. With every single client I've coached so far, barring one who has a knee problem, they've all taken up cardiovascular exercise and got a healthier diet, and it's helped every single one of them out. Never fails to work. The crazy thing is that it's so simple going to a gym, going running, eating healthy. People already know the information. It's not complicated, clever, it's not flashy, but it works. It requires courage to do it, and it's not easy. The muscle of discipline, especially when you have anxiety. I know what that's like. When you really don't feel like going to the gym. So many fears around going there. What if you're not strong when you're lifting the weights, and there's other people who are really, really built, they're heavy people? What if you feel weak? What if you're a newbie there and people are better than you? What if you're not in the shape that you want to be in, and you're comparing yourself to these images in society of how you're supposed to look? Just the fears and awkwardness of using the equipment, finding your way around, not making mistakes. I know that for a lot of people, they find the idea of going to a gym scary. I used to find it scary as well. Also, people find the idea of going running scary as well. You're going to be judged. People will notice you. But what I can say is that, from my perspective, I always respect people that are working hard, just naturally. If I see someone running, I'm never judging that person negatively. I'm thinking, keep on going. That's awesome. That's inspiring. Same with anybody at the gym. Me personally, I can't speak for everybody there, but if I see someone at the gym that's a newbie, I'm thinking that's awesome. Happy that they've started their journey. So join a gym, exercise classes, something like this, and taking up running. If you have anxiety, it's going to change your life. I'll tell you something that is quite interesting about how running is so well suited and such a good fit for people with anxiety. So before you go for a run, there's always that inner voice that doesn't want to go for a run. I have that voice. I went for a run before this video, and the voice was saying, I'm not in the mood tonight. Like, I don't feel like it. I was at the gym early today. I could just not go. It's kind of cold outside. It's going to get dark. The voice of excuses, trying to talk you out of going. The anticipation, there's a bit of nerves there. There's a little bit of dread. There's a bit of dread. Then you say, okay, I know I don't feel like it right now, but I'm going to go anyway. I'm going to do the run. You put your running shoes on, you go for a run. During the run, it's actually fine. It was nothing like as bad as you thought, and you're happy that you're now running. When you come back, you're so glad that you went for that run. You're buzzed and you want to go again. So that's the pattern. There's a nerves before you go for a run. When you go, it's not that bad. Afterwards, you're glad you went. It's the exact same pattern when it comes to socializing, especially if you have high levels of social anxiety. Before the social event, probably you're going to feel nervous. You'll feel yourself panicking a bit, your heart going, the tension in your stomach, tension in your chest, your cheeks, your face. I know those feelings. Maybe sweating. Your brain will be saying, I really don't want to go to this social right now. I'm not in the best mood right now. I just don't feel like it. But when you push yourself to go, even though you don't feel like it, you go to a social. Probably you'll be thinking, do you know what? This is nothing like as bad as my mind made out. My mind painted this horror story. It told me that the social was going to be the worst experience in the world. Everybody would laugh at me, I'd be a laughing stock. I'd be on my own the entire time, not have a conversation. But actually, it's not that bad. And then after you've been to the social, you've come back home, you'll be glad that you went. You'll think, you know what? I got some life experience today. I went out, pushed my comfort zone. It wasn't that bad. And I'm glad that I went. So running and social anxiety, they go hand in hand because it's that same pattern. And when you can beat this pattern of dread and nerves before doing something, but still do it, it's going to help you out so much. I'll teach you what has helped out a bunch of my clients with this. I like to go quite deep. I like psychology. So within our mind, there's a split, a parent-child split. So a voice in our head represents our inner child, and another voice represents our inner parent. So the voice that I'm using right now, when I'm doing this live stream, this is the voice of my inner parent. But I have an inner child as well, as does everybody. And you can imagine that it's a 12-year-old kid. Your job as a parent is to look after your inner child. That inner child is the more emotional and vulnerable part of you. So when the inner child says, I'm not in the mood, I don't want to go for a run, I don't want to go out there in the cold, it's a child talking. Do you want to let your child dominate your life? Probably the answer is no. You don't want to let your child dominate your life. So you have to say to yourself, I know you don't feel like going for a run right now. I understand that. But I'm a parent, I've got life experience, and it's the best decision for both of us. And you go for the run. Because as a parent, you have life experience, and it's your job to lead your inner child to a better future. Even when you look at the dialogue, the mental dialogue, before you face a social fear, it's often childlike. I don't want to go tonight. Can I just stay in? You can tell it's a child speaking. You can't let your inner child dominate your life. It's not right. Imagine that you as a paramedic. I find this analogy quite funny. You're on duty and someone's had a heart attack. Your inner child might say, I'm just not in the mood right now. You can't say that. I'm in a bit of a low place right now, so I'm not going to do CPR. You can't do that. You have to say CPR. Then you can look after your inner child later. If you think about hunter-gatherer times, imagine it's hunter-gatherer times and you have a 12-year-old kid. The 12-year-old might say, Daddy, can you stay at home today and not go to work? I want to just do nothing today. If you don't have food, you're going to have to say, I'm really sorry, we can catch up later, but I have to go out and hunt. I have to bring in food. It's my job. So this can help people out when it comes to winning the battle of you versus yourself. That's the key battle. You versus your own inner resistance and nerves. Imagine where your life would be if you won that inner battle. You versus your own fear and inner resistance every single day for 6 months. Even though you might not be in the mood, you go to the gym. You get your diet right. You're not perfect, but you're doing a damn good job. And you say, I'm going to go to a couple of socials per week. Even if I feel afraid, even if I kind of just really don't want to go, I'm going to find a way to get myself there. Imagine where you would be in 6 months' time. There's a lot of fear facing, a lot of action taking. I'm sure it wouldn't be an easy journey. It's not an easy journey, but you would be in a much better place. A lot less social anxiety. So beating this inner resistance is one of the key skill sets. And next time you're feeling that resistance, try to notice the voice. Notice what it's saying. Recognize that, this is my inner child speaking. I get it. Well, I don't want my inner child to run my life. So I'm going to put my foot down and do the right thing. So exercising and socializing. 2 really practical ways to reduce social anxiety. So when it comes to socializing, maybe you're thinking, well, what opportunities do I have? How can I get myself down to socials? One thing you can do is check out an app and website called meetup.com. It's free and there's loads of events going on all the time. Social events in most major cities. There's also other apps that are quite good. One called Eventbrite. So these are great to find different communities. And you can find a community that has a similar passion to you. Maybe your passion is reading books. Maybe it's films, hiking, whatever it is, there's a lot of groups out there. Sports, even though they're scary for people with social anxiety, they're also great. They're a great way to meet people. Running clubs. So there's lots of social opportunities. And when you're going to the socials, the key thing is to, over time, let your guard down. Practice what my mentor used to call strong vulnerability. The bravery in actually being yourself, even when you're feeling afraid. You can tell people that you're nervous. It's okay to say, do you know what, guys? I feel really nervous today. I feel afraid. It's okay to say that. When you think there's something wrong with social anxiety and you feel ashamed of social anxiety, you try to find a way to trap it in your body, to not let other people see that you have fear. As long as you try to trap social anxiety in your system, you're going to keep it there. There's nothing to be ashamed of. We're all afraid of people, some people to different degrees, but no one can judge you because they don't know what you've been through. They have no idea what your journey is. So there's zero shame in having social anxiety. And any judgment from another person is irrelevant. They're not qualified to make a judgment on you or your life because they've not lived in your shoes. And hey, Omalara, great to have you on the call. So I was saying that there's zero shame in having social anxiety and admitting that to other people. There's nothing wrong with it. So it's you finding the courage to be open and honest. And I'm not saying, to make sure that I'm being clear, I'm not saying that you can be open and honest with every person in life. I wish that was the case. That would be a great world to live in. Not everybody is a nice person, of course. There's a lot of good people out there, but there is some wolves and some bad people too. But you can find the good people and practice being more honest with these people. So when I was receiving coaching for social anxiety, one of the first lessons that the guy taught me, which I started to apply in my life, was to be more honest with key people in my life. For example, parents. So whenever I would phone my parents, I would focus on and ask myself the question, how can I be a bit more honest than I would normally be? Stop giving the generic default answers that you think people want to hear. For example, when people say, how are you doing today? I would always say, yeah, I'm doing okay, thanks. Like a robot. I would always say that. So then I started to be more honest and say, well, actually, I'm feeling a bit stressed at the moment. Or overall, I'm in a happy place, but I'm overcoming a couple of challenges. I started to practice being more honest with people in general, people at work as well. And over time, I realized that I felt more connection to people in general. I thought, wow, feel so much more connected. So working on being more honest with people incrementally massively reduces social anxiety. Works great. As does facing your social fears. Facing the fear of being yourself from moment one of a conversation and throughout the conversation. And before wrapping the live stream up, because I could speak on this for 5-6 hours, a few things that help people out. So firstly, let go of self-judgment. When you're in a social group and social situation, there's no need to beat yourself up. Doesn't matter if you're the loudest person in that group or you're the most quiet person. Doesn't matter at all. Everybody's equal. No one's better than anybody. And it's not like you're the most valuable person there because you spoke the most. If you're naturally quiet, it's okay to be yourself. You don't need to pretend to be an extrovert if you're an introvert. You don't need to pretend to be anything other than being yourself. That's the key. The key is to go into social situations and face your fear of actually being yourself. If you feel fear, you feel afraid, let yourself feel that fear and know that the more you lean into that fear and accept it and stop letting that fear run you, the more that fear will go down over time. And it's a process. When I had high levels of social anxiety, I genuinely would feel completely frozen in all social situations. I'd feel on the back foot, pressured, and I literally felt like I was going to pass out. I'd get these tension headaches. I just felt so tense in my chest, and I felt that I was lightheaded and going to pass out at any moment. That's how afraid I used to be in social groups. So, exposure therapy, this is the key. Exposure therapy done in the right way. Not overwhelming yourself, but doing something that is a bit scary. A bit scary, but possible to handle. Kind of like if you was going to the gym and looking to build muscle, you want to pick a weight which is a challenge, but it's not overwhelming. You're not going to have 100 kilograms on the bar and start trying to press it over your head because you're going to injure yourself. And in the same way, if you just work out without weights, just the bar on its own, it might not do that much. So you want to find the sweet spot. The sweet spot is something which is a bit scary, but not overwhelming. And start to practice that until it feels easy. Then pick something which is a bit more scary. Over time, you'll adjust to this. And this is the journey. It's a journey of facing your social fears with exposure to them. And with exposure to them, they go from being scary, feeling like monsters, to feeling just normal and fine. You shatter the illusions. So facing your social fears, one of the best ways to overcome social anxiety. And this is why I put my events on. So I have an event on Sunday. Actually, I have two events. And this is to bring people together with social anxiety in a non-judgmental and safe space, a welcoming space, to get people out of their shell and to get them to face their social fears within that situation, within the context of the group. And it's really helping people. The more they open up in the group over time, the more confident they get in their life outside of the event. So that's one of the ways that I've been helping people, and it can help anybody out. If you want to check out my events, you're very welcome to. Just send me an email. My email's on my channel, and I can send you a link so you can see what events I've got coming up, and book yourself on any which take your fancy. Also, I do one-to-one coaching, which is more personal. So I'm helping you to talk about what's bothering you and improve your current situation, teaching you boundaries, important social skills, and getting you more confident with important people in your life. So you're not held back so much by social anxiety and fits. If you're interested in the coaching, I do the first one-to-one session completely free of charge. So it's a trial session, a taster session. And this is so that, firstly, I can check that you're the right person for me to work with, because I only take on people who I know I can help out and people with the right attitude for the coaching as well. And it's also a chance for you to experience one-to-one coaching and see if it's the path that is right for you. So it's a great way to test out if the coaching is right for you before any kind of commitment. Again, if this appeals to you, just shoot me an email and we can get on a call. Until next time, I really enjoyed this live stream and I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your evening. Take care.